Hey everybody, coming at you from my gear room. It's like 108 heat index outside. That's Fahrenheit, and that's like 42 Celsius with 100% humidity. So I'm not really going to film outside. So in my last video, I showed a Martini knife made in Finland. Somebody in the comment section said that they would really like to know the difference between Martini and Mora, because Mora knives are very popular. So I thought this would be a good time for me to drag out all my Moras and the Martini knives that I own and talk about them and what I know about them and my opinion on them, because these are all finished knives and they're all pretty affordable. They have some cheap knives, some middle grade knives, and some really expensive knives. Most of mine are cheap to mid-grade. So we're going to go over the differences and the advantages. We're going to talk about the blade geometry, the handle geometry, and how I use them. So hopefully you'll be able to make kind of a good guess on what you would like to buy and use. All right? So let's get into this. Now these are my Martini knives. I've only got 6 of them. And during this video I'm also going to include whatever knives I have attached to machetes. So those are my 6 Martinis. These are my 17 Mora knives. Not to say that I'm partial to Moras, but I do love Moras. I'm liable to butcher these names, but basically the Mora was founded in Mora, Sweden in 1891 by Frost Eric, I think Urson. I may be pronouncing it wrong. Martini was founded in Rovaniemi, I can't pronounce that, in Finnish Lapland, Finland, by Jan Martini in 1928. So we got a knife company that started, it's been around since 1928, and one that's been around since 1891. All right, but they're both, you know, they're both Finnish country knives. So I'm going to go over the differences with these. Most everybody knows about these Moras, but I'm going to go a little bit more in detail. But I'm going to start out with these Martini knives, talking about them. Let's start with the 3 basics here. Like I said, this one's attached to a machete. The Martini knives generally come in a leather sheath with a plastic liner. All right. This is a very, very tiny one, and I use it as a neck knife with an elastic cord. You can see the size of that. It's a pretty small knife. Anyway, this is the Little Condor, and the Little Condor list for like $23. I looked up the prices on all these. And then this is the Utility Hunter. This is $28. And then this is called the Big Game Hunter. This is $33. Now, when we're talking about these 3 knives here, the biggest difference between this and a Mora is these have, there's a Mora, okay, is these all have clip points, which it gives it this dip, and it gives it a very, very fine point, which is good for fishing, game, and vegetables, which is also in line with the fact that these are all stainless steel. And then the other thing is they always have a very distinctive finger guard right here. And then the handles are very, very, very grippy, which are very, very good for like in swamps or wetlands, or if you're cleaning fish or game, especially like if you're cleaning a slimy catfish, you don't want your hands to slip on there. So anyway, these are those 3. These are pretty much the basic cheap Martinis. Really grippy. I think they call this the rubbery handles. I think they call it elastomer. Very grippy. Finger guard. They do have a Scandi grind on them. But anyway, those are those 3 right there. Now, a friend of mine sent me a carbon steel version in a plastic sheath, which is very similar to the Mora. This one, you have to keep it oiled up. I keep tons of oil on it. But that thing right there, pretty much, you know, it's elastomer grip, got a good grip on it, finger guard, and then it's got the Scandi grind. Now this is absolutely one of my favorite knives. Oh, this thing right here lists for around $25, but I have seen it go under $20. This is one of my favorite knives. This is called the Carbinox Silver, and this goes for around $55. And this is a, let's see, it says Carbinox T508 J Martini Finland. This is absolutely one of my most favorite knives to carry in general use. Those other knives, they excel at, you know, meat, fish and game, vegetables. They can carve wood, but they don't really excel at it. But this thing does everything. I absolutely love this little knife right here. And it's got a leather sheath with a plastic thing inside it. And then it's got a belt loop right here. But I wear it as a neck knife, and I use webbing instead of paracord with a Fastex buckle. That way, if it gets snagged on anything, it'll break the buckle. It ain't like this little buckle's going to hold my body weight. All right. So let's move on and talk about Mora. This is my oldest Mora, and in keeping with their tradition, you know, this was a user knife. This is a utility working knife. So it came in a plastic case and it had the little leather dangler. And this is like from the 60s. I don't know if you could put a price on this, but it's got the wooden handle. Very, very old knife. Very old knife. Now, the more modern version of it is called the Mora Classic, and they have different sizes of these with the wooden handle. They have the Mora 1, 2, and 3. Now, Martini makes some with wooden handles, but they're super expensive. They're really nice knives. Mora makes these cheap, and they're user knives. It's got a Scandi grind. And the shape of this thing right here, it's called a palm swell when it's large like this, and it's very comfortable to use for a long time. May not work real good when it's wet. You can't do any stabbing or piercing with it because your handle slide down on it. But there's a trick for choosing a handle that I'm going to show you about in a little bit once we get done with these. Now this is absolutely positively one of my favorite Moras, the Mora Companion HD. Alright, now they make a regular, well, this is a elastomer handle, and I think they've put a lot of thought into this, but elastomer means kind of a rubbery, grippy type handle. Now there's something weird about this. This rubbery, grippy handle is very, it's comfortable for like using, if you're going to use a knife for an hour or less. If you're going to use a knife all day long, this will drive you crazy. This soft rubber, if you use a knife enough, you'll realize it. The kind that has the real hard plastic like polypropylene, if you're going to use a knife for like 8 hours a day, that's what you need to do. And I'm going to talk more about that handle in a minute. Now, they also have a regular companion. The regular companion is not as thick. The HD, see if I can turn them. Can you see the difference in the thickness? The HD is a lot thicker. So for those of you that love beating on your knives and batoning, the companion HD is the one to go with. Now, I have that one. I love these. If you really love these knives, you can go so far as to have a leather pouch made for them if you really want to fancy them up. These are cheap knives, but what you do is you keep the sheath forever and attach a ferro rod to it, and then you just keep constantly buying these knives like this. But anyway, there's those. And then on my Bushcraft Parang, I have one mounted. And these are pretty easy to mount. All you do is, if your machete sheath has a pocket, you can take the clip on the sheath and you can clip it on here, and then just take a piece of webbing and just sew it up and slide it on to hold it, and that thing ain't going nowhere. It's actually held by the clip, and this just kind of keeps it from flopping around. But anyway, those are those three. I love those things. Those are wonderful. and then they make them in different colors. This is a survival kit. I was going to get a brand new Mora for it, and I wound up just getting one that the color matched the pouch, just so it'd be cool looking. But anyway, that's another Mora companion. Let's look over here a minute. I have a companion attached to my Terava Scramma, and I just did it with elastic webbing. I mean, that stuff, you just sew it up and it sticks on and it holds on. Same thing on here. Now I want to show you something about this right here, and I haven't figured this out yet. That one's attached to that, and then this one I use it with as a neck knife with paracord, and it's got a cord lock on it because this thing will slip if it gets snagged. And then I've also got a ferro rod with a whistle mounted on it. That way you can kind of wear it. That way it's like you've got your fire kit and you've got your you know something, I don't know why that's all tangled up like that. It shouldn't be like that. Oh, it fell off. Hold on. Well, anyway, I just undid it inadvertently. But anyway, for some bizarre reason, these two Mora companions, and I can't remember how they were listed or how I ordered them, but one of them is solid stainless steel. Well, they're both stainless steel, but one of them is totally polished stainless steel, and then the other one has got a black coating on it. And they're both companions, and I'm not real sure of why it's like that. But anyway, now here's another Mora over here. I really like the handle, but I don't know if I can't remember if this is a companion or not. See the handle on it? It's got a textured handle. This is what they call elastomer, and it's, you know, I don't know, it's what's the word I'm looking for? Grippy, soft and grippy. But they also make, for a while there they made, you can buy extra sheaths, and they make a sheath that's a tactical sheath, which has got, it's got all these weird, the webbing on it, and this big thick piece of elastomer. And this right here makes it where you can mount it on your belt scout carry, so that instead of being mounted this ways, it's mounted this ways. And see, the cool thing about buying an extra sheath like that is you can have an extra sheath and you can carry the same knife, like if you want to carry it, or you can carry it on your machete like that. Alright, so let's move on to the more expensive Mora knives. Oh, I forgot to mention the companion. I looked up the prices. The companion is around 17 bucks, and the companion HD, the little thicker one, goes for about 25 bucks. Alright, so now let's move up. These I love. I absolutely love these, and they're shaped about the same, but they're called a different name. But this is the Bushcraft Black. It has a black case, alright, and it's got a very different kind of handle. Instead of having a clip on it, there's a plastic loop on it. These I like to wear as neck knives, but that is the Bushcraft Black. It's a carbon steel knife. Even says carbon steel on it. Mora knife made in Sweden. This has a elastomer rubber grippy handle. Now that thing right there, I put webbing on it to wear as a neck knife. See, but you could also undo it because that's not going to hold your body weight up if it gets snagged. But usually I put it in my shirt. Now this thing right here, this is called the Bushcraft Forest. This was $45. It's a version of that. It's well, the handle is like almost exactly the same, but the blade is different. It's a stainless steel blade. Now this is some kind of weird duplex type grind. It's where you get the best of both worlds. You got a Scandi grind, you got this big thick section for carving, but they have thinned it down here for slicing, like your vegetables and possibly game. Anything stainless steel is good for game, especially fishing, because if you bring a carbon steel knife into the swamp or wetlands or fishing, the next morning you're going to wake up and the whole blade's going to be nothing but rust. So you don't want that happening. But that's the Bushcraft Forest. It's all green. That's a Bushcraft Black. Now, the beauty of this thing's right here too. This being 50 bucks, I can either wear it as a neck knife, or, I didn't know it, you can buy an extra tactical sheath for it. Now, my friend Bev sent me this years ago, and I didn't know they sold these things separately, but it's got a diamond, plate, sharpener built onto the sheath, and it's got a place for a ferro rod. And so, see, you can always use paracord, so I just paracorded it to that. So whenever I'm carrying this kukri, I can either take my Bushcraft Black and carry it with me, so I don't have to buy two knives, or if I'm going to be cleaning fish or game, I can carry my Forest. So that's something else to remember, is that they sell these sheaths. They sell these, and then they sell those. As far as cleaning game and vegetables and food prep and being around the water, stainless steel's the way to go. This is a Mora 2000. This is a pretty old knife, but I noticed you can still buy it online for $39. My friend Ulrika Backlund, she used to make YouTube videos. They're still online. She actually lives in Sweden, and she sent this to me. But this is a Mora 2000. And see, it's got that same unusual duplex grind. And I pretty much use this for all meat cutting. I love this knife. It's great for cutting meat. It's got a plastic sheath with a leather dangler, and I just got paracord on it with a cord lock put around my neck. So yeah, that's stainless steel. Your other versions of stainless steel are the Kansbol, and I recently got this one for $37. I can't remember this. I think this was more when it first came out, but it is a plastic sheath with a leather dangler, and these things, the loop is supposed to, yeah, there it goes. Look, the loop actually pops off to where you can just throw the whole thing in your pocket. So you can either wear it on your belt, or like I do, here's more of that webbing, I wear it around my neck, and I'll tuck it in my shirt when I'm hiking. But anyway, this is what the Kansbol looks like. It's got that same weird duplex grind. Now this part is a rubbery elastomer, and this is hard as a rock right here. And I'm fixing to show you in a little while the two-finger slip on how to determine if a handle's too slick or not. This is another Kansbol, all orange, a survival knife. There's a difference in camping and bushcraft and survival. A survival knife should be orange. You would not want to use a green knife and a green sheath for a survival type situation or a survival kit. This is for bushcraft. You want orange. And see, this one I have orange with orange paracord with a whistle and it's got tinder inside here. And I had a ferro rod on here, but for some reason I took it off. I don't know why. I think I used it for something else. But I want to show you something else real quick here that's unusual. The Mora 2000, see the Mora 2000 on the top? Look at the fine polish on the blade. I didn't do that. It came from the factory that way. And then look at the rough grind on the Kansbol. Can you see the difference? I don't know why they do that. There it is right there. I just caught it. Now see, the 2000 over here is more of a slick food prep knife. See, I'm even picking up my coat rack in the back. It's so polished. But anyway, that's unusual right there on that, I think. This is a Mora Garberg. You can get, there's two different sheath options. This one it's got the loop with the leather on it for wearing on your belt. But they also make an actual leather one that's all leather. And then it's got a clip that holds it on. Now this is Mora's full tang offering. Most of these knives are partial tang, but this one is full tang. It goes all the way to the end. So when this first came out, it was like $100, and I looked this one up, and I think this one right now is $85. But yeah, it's full tang. That's a very good knife. Now this is polypropylene in the middle and top and bottom. This is not elastomer like the other one. See, for some reason the Bushcraft Black and the Forest, they've got the hard plastic here and the soft plastic here. This is hard here and hard here. Now a lot of people I read were complaining online about this, saying, oh, this is slippery. Well, the fact that this thing is slippery and hard, you can use this for 8 hours and it won't hurt your hand. I don't know why. It's weird. It will not rub any kind of blisters on your hand. But a soft one will. Now I'm fixing to show you something real quick on the 2-finger slip test on the handle. Alright. They have a thing that's called a 2-finger slip test. Now the 2-finger slip test it determines the slipperiness of a knife, and it also determines where you're going to use it and how you're going to use it. Like, if it doesn't pass the test, you don't dare do fish or game with it, and you don't dare take it to the swamps or the wetlands or out near the water. Now, the way you do that is you take the knife, blade facing away from you, and you take your index finger and your thumb, and you put gentle pressure on it, just like this. And then you lightly let off on your hand, and then put light grip on it. And if the weight of the knife stops, and you can stop it, then it passes the test. Now, usually these don't pass the test because it's a hard, slippery plastic, but they've got these lines cut in it. So you want to put your hand on there, and I'm going to let off on it, allow the knife to slip. And see, it slipped pretty bad right there, but that's because of the palm swell to it. So that wasn't great. Now, this is a Bone Valley knife. It has nothing to do with what I'm showing here, but this is one of those typical bushcraft knives. It's the fit and finish is perfection. Everything about this knife is absolutely perfect. But when you try that test with it, you lightly let off, and say I couldn't stop it. Absolutely could not stop it. I barely let off, and then when I tried to stop it from sliding, it drops. So you can imagine the Martini with its grip all the way down to right there. Now the thing about a Martini is, like I'm saying, these bushcrafting, wood carving, and things along that nature, these are great. These are fantastic. Most of these are stainless steel. You can carry them to the swamp. Usually, these handles are so grippy. This is what I carry to the swamp in my kayak and stuff, and because you can clean fish and game and everything with it. Oh, one more thing. I totally forgot this. This is the Mora Eldris. And the Mora Eldris, this says it was more expensive years ago. Ulrika Backlund sent this to me. But you can buy just the Eldris for $30, or you can buy the one that comes with the ferro rod built into it. It comes with a little ferro rod, and it's got a little leather thing on it that actually says Mora knife. But this thing right here, it's made to where you wear it upside down like this. You wear it around your neck. Like I said, with these Mora knives, when you're a neck knife, you tuck it into your shirt when you're walking, or you tuck it into your pocket. But this, it hangs upside down, and see, it's a little bitty short thing. This is a very cool knife, and this is the hard plastic polypropylene, and then the outside, just like the Bushcraft Black, is an elastomer, and it's got a very, very, very short blade. The blade's only about 3 fingers long. But the Eldris, that's a pretty cool knife. Oh, I'm wearing it. I was looking for the sheath. And then one other thing, Mora makes a fillet knife. Now, most fillet knives that I've seen, it's weird. It's got a clip point. It's very thick, has a elastomer, rubbery, grippy handle, which is great for whenever you're messing around with old slimy catfish. But most of the fillet knives I've seen flex, and that one doesn't flex. That one is stiff. Now I have a very, very, very old Martini. It says on J. Martini, Finland. This is a very, very, very old wooden handled fillet knife. And a lot of times these things, they need to be to where they'll flex a little bit for filleting a fish. But anyway, that's Martini. Now, Rapala, the name Rapala is made by Martini. It's made in Finland. Now, there's also a, let me grab this real quick. I read online, and I don't believe it, but they said that this company, Normark, selling a handle, it's got a fish. They claim that these Normarks are made in the Martini factory, but I don't believe it because this blade says Sweden. So, I don't know where these are made. Is Normark a separate company? But anyway, that's about the fillet knives. Oh, the end of this has got a sharpening. Had a little ceramic rod on the end. Isn't that neat? Now, I'm going to show you something about the Scandi grind, the difference between these, the factory Scandi grind as far as feather sticks. All these knives cut. I don't know why you'd ever stab with a knife, but if you're going to stab, these finger guards are very good to have if you're going to be stabbing. So, I don't think a bushcrafter or a camper is going to be stabbing things. But I'm going to show you how to judge the Scandi grind. Now, most bushcrafters like to make feather sticks, and I guess if you're a survivalist, you can do it too. So, because what you do is, if normally you would pick up grass and twigs and things for fire starting materials, but if everything's wet, you want to split or baton down to some wood and make curls from it. Now, the way I judge a Scandi grind, regardless of if it's from the factory or if I've touched it up, you're still, you kind of depend on the geometry of what the factory has done. Depending on how you hold the knife, you can either make curls or spirals. Some people call the spirals bugles. They both burn, but it's just a way of judging a Scandi grind. So, what we're going to do is you take the knife, and if you push straight down, alright, now that's a perfect curl. See that right there? That is a curl. It has curled up. Alright? And sometimes the faster you go, all wood is not the same. And see, that's a curl. Alright? Now, if you take the knife, that's going straight down. If you take the knife and push it an angle as you're going down, you should make spirals. I almost did it. I did a couple. See how it spirals instead of curling up straight? See, this curls up straight, and then this does spirals. And that might not be a good piece of wood. Let's pick another piece of wood. I don't know if that's any good either. The wood grain has a lot to do with it. See, that's not even curling up. That's just coming off straight. Like I say, wood grain's got a lot to do with it. Well, that is a brand new carbon Martini. All right. Now, as far as untouched from the factory, this is the only Mora that I've got that I haven't touched up. So we're going to take the same piece of wood and see how the Mora does. Now, see, I'm going straight down. It's making large curls. See that? Very, very large curls, and see they're almost in line. Now let's try it Where was I at? Let's try it this ways. Now see, those are spirals. See how long they are? And you'll see when it comes to fire making, sometimes there's a difference in these two. But they both do it, but I find that fascinating. That when you go straight down with the Mora, look at how large the curls are. And then when you go down with a Martini, it didn't do it that time. It did that time. Look at how compact the curls are. That is just so bizarre. Let's try the Big Game Hunter. Let's see. Look, this is the huge Big Game Hunter. Let's see how it does. Little bitty tiny curls. Let's go on this back side of this wood. That is just so weird that that thing curls up real small. Now I'm not going to move this. I'll set this right here and let's take the Bushcraft Black. And I'm going to push straight down the same way. See, that's making small ones. That's making little tiny curls. See how wide those are? Inline curls. Now let's see what the Bushcraft Black does when I go and moving this way and down. There, that was a perfect curl right there. I mean a spiral. See, isn't it weird? So that's that. I could try these knives all day. Oh, let's try my Carbinox, the one that I'm crazy about. Let's get a different piece of wood here. Let's try the Carbinox. See, that ain't even making curls. It's just carving off giant pieces, unless it's the wood. Let's go back to this piece of wood. Yeah, it's the wood. So, I have pretty much shown the differences and given my opinion. Martini versus Mora, they're both great. Finland versus Sweden, they're both great. They're both affordable. You'll never hear me use the word cheap with these knives. I like to call them affordable because they're very, very, very good quality. And there's a lot of junk knives out there. I mean, just absolute junk that are cheap. And if you're going to stick around the $20 to $30 range, go ahead and buy you something that's made in either Finland or Sweden. I could have made curls here all day with these things, but I'm not going to because I probably already did too much. But that's the basic idea. All wood is different. Try your knives and do what I said. Push the knife straight down and see what you get. And then as you're going at an angle, go down and see what you get. Okay, you should get curls and you should get bugles. I got a whole pile of stuff right here that I got. And I had a bunch of different woods. Some wood doesn't work good. Some, because of the wood grain, you can cut it this way and the curls fall off, and turn it this way and the curls will stick to it because of the wood grain. Some wood's drier than other. Basically, there's lots of differences in Martini and Mora. The handles are all different. The sheaths are different. the grind is pretty similar. Martini, it seems like Martini, you get more of an option for sizes. Like everybody knows what the companion size is. Well, look at the little Condor. Look at the difference in the size. See, all the way up to the big game hunter. See the size of it. And I would say that with the exception of the Eldris, pretty much most Moras are about the same. And Martini does make some super, super expensive knives, but I haven't bought any because the cheap knives do good. And last time I was at Smoky Mountain Knife Works, I noticed there was some wooden handled Moras that were $220. And I asked the guy, I said, I can't believe Mora's making a knife that expensive. I said, are they selling good? And he said these have been in the cabinet 2 years and I haven't sold the first one. So, just the common Moras are just such good knives that the others aren't selling. It blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. But the Martinis are all over the place. So anyway, I hope you had fun. I hope you enjoyed it. Those are the differences. One's really not better than the other. It depends on what you're doing. Is it wood carving? Is it camping? Is it survivaling? Is it fish cleaning? Are you going to be near water? Like I said, any of these carbon knives, people are like, you know, I love a carbon knife for bushcrafting, and they're like, oh, I'll keep oil on it. Well, if you take this with you into the swamp or fishing, by nightfall, rust will form, and you'll wake up the next morning and a whole blade will be nothing but rust. And like if you're dealing with a flathead catfish, cleaning it, you're going to want a handle like this with the finger guard and a really gritty texture. So, all right, I better knock it off now, or I could talk about knives all day. So, take it easy, enjoy knife. Enjoy knife. Yeah, enjoy your knives and enjoy life. Happy 4th of July, and we shall see you in the next one.